Hello and welcome back to the channel once again. My name is Olo and this time we're talking about Project Athia. Athia? Apparently it's pronounced in an unusual way, but I think for my sanity we'll just go with Athia this time. This temporary title for the upcoming game was revealed at the recent Sony Showcase event and surprised us as Square Enix's new title and apparently completely new IP, which you might have been wondering if this may in fact be Final Fantasy 16. So today we're going to take a look at what we saw from the quick teaser trailer, break down all the information surrounding the game, talk about those rumors, that elephant in the room, and of course work out what this game actually is. So let's get started by checking out that trailer itself. Now personally, when I saw a new IP like this and saw the unfinished subject to change tagline, I was expecting a cinematic that didn't really represent the game at all. Certainly not any gameplay, but somehow we got direct gameplay footage that, yeah, again, is in dev and is subject to change as it said below, but all the same, that was gameplay. Much to our surprise, we got to look at the movement and platforming aspects of this game, the combat with the strange magical powers at hand, and a good look at different enemy types as well. That magic itself seemed very nature-based, considering the use of vines to wrap around targets, doing big damage and choking them. Some of those enemies seem reasonably sized compared to the massive worm thing that's a little less reasonable to contend with. Or hey, the giant dragon thing with the fiery chest that's a little open and exposed. Yeah, real normal. Not to mention the world itself, the big landscapes, the strange environments that seem very different to one another. There's that journey aspect to this game that's being put across in this trailer. You know, big unknown lands to explore, unknown objects, strange mystical creatures to battle using your rather strange and mystical magic. And it was only a short and sweet snippet of what we can expect from this game, and as I said, it's very open-ended and mysterious. Square Enix are trying something new here, unlike their usual JRPG style of many other games like this, and what caught my eye here was the surprising gameplay aspect of this trailer. It looks good, impressive, next gen, the point. And obviously I found myself a little intrigued, especially because we can make a surprising comparison here. Just before the Sony event, we had this sudden PS5 Unreal Engine tech demo showing this explorer with magical powers traversing this mysterious world. It was a very similar setting and concept, and to say the least, it did look good, but it was to show off what the new engine was capable of, so not quite the same game exactly, right? But God, they were similar, weren't they? Now, Project Athia is in development by the new group Luminous Productions, under Square Enix of course. Finally, on that topic of Final Fantasy 16, it was rumored that this PS5 showcase event would actually reveal the next Final Fantasy title, especially because Luminous Productions are originally the team who made Final Fantasy 15. Obviously, what we saw was Project Athia and not, say, Final Fantasy 16 on our screens. Because of that, though, people are theorizing that this could still be Final Fantasy 16. And actually, we do see a similar world design, or at least artistic world design, with these huge stone arches that you found all over the world of FF15. They could be linked or even the same world because of that. But this is such a weak link to put heart and real trust behind. But it certainly is something, and it's fun to speculate at very least. We are overdue for some Final Fantasy news, really. Yeah, we had that recent release of FF7's remake, but obviously that doesn't stop new devs or other devs from working on future titles, new titles, and it's been a goddamn good while since the release of FF15. It's just too strange to me though. Why would they form a new studio instead of continuing with the current to make a new Final Fantasy game? Like, why would they label it as Project Athia that has to stand on its own rather than use the massive history and support that is Final Fantasy? What we do know is the description of the game really does tell us that it's not another JRPG, so perhaps if it is set in the same world as FF15, it's still a completely different game in its mechanics and style. I mean, that's obvious at this time. Perhaps they're taking that same world and exploring it more creatively as a foundation, but not as a direct link and a sequel, just artistically inspired. Now, what is this game? What is the story? What's going on in this very strange world? The official description for the game is as follows. Project Athia will transport players to a world filled with beauty and dismay as they set upon a thrilling, story-led, action-packed adventure which can be twisted, tempestuous, and forbidden. Basically, we're in for a fantasy world with various strange magical monsters that, as we saw, come in various forms and sizes, elementals, or even colossal or demonic in their nature, and we got that super speedy movement from the platforming clip, nature-based magic, and a creepy unknown land to explore. From that description of the trailer, we definitely know that we should expect beautiful landscapes mixed in with those dark and ruined areas too, and that's the foundation for a, quote, thrilling story-led game. From their official website, we get a little bit of information about the protagonist, this character that we're following. In a world not her own, where resolve will be tested, truths will be questioned, and devotions will be doubted, she will rise. Which is very interesting, because apparently she's actually exploring a world that is not her own, like a new dimension or reality rather than, say, just a new landscape. It seems that this journey is about her understanding of reality and what she believed her whole life not necessarily being the truth. Then the attempt to overcome this new and unknown land and to survive it. Also, I don't know if you caught this, but she's literally wearing trainers in the trailer. That doesn't really suit this world, obviously, but it also kind of matches ours. Could this be a person transported from our world into this magical and mysterious land, which then in turn gave her powers that she has no idea how to control originally? And this is maybe her journey to find her way back and control what's new about her body. All isekai anime style. Maybe, maybe not, but that's a cool concept. And that story is being led by Gary Whitta, who has actually written for Prey, The Walking Dead. He also wrote for the film Book of Eli too. Gary himself tweeted that he led a, quote, crack team of A-list writers from the worlds of film, TV, games, and fantasy literature who helped create this immense new universe. Which certainly sounds promising. We've got some very experienced and varied writers from different aspects of world creation for Project Athia, which is a good sign. Now, from the same PS5 blog, the creative director for Project Athia, Takeshi Aramaki, explains that this first title from Luminous Productions is the culmination of their philosophy as a team to create a completely new and fresh gaming experience that fuses that new and much less limited technology of next gen with art. They're confident that their vision is coming to life with Project Athia and that players can look forward to experiencing their beautiful and dark new world soon. Certainly explains the unique visual style, these massive beautiful vistas that look rather limitless in concept, very open and free, matched with, say, that weird worm eye thing that by comparison is overwhelming, massive, terrifying, almost Lovecraftian in its nature, suddenly restricting you to the ground and making you feel very small and vulnerable, which is a complete change of pace. Anyway, from that description, it does tell us and confirm that this is not necessarily another JRPG, so if this is set in the same world as Final Fantasy 15, it's a different game in its mechanics at very least. And this game is developed as a PlayStation 5 exclusive for a, quote, limited time, which is actually going to be coming to PC eventually sometime after launch, but it will be temporarily exclusive to the PS5. Really interesting to see a limited time exclusive for a specific console. It really reminds me of how PC gaming is doing this lately, you know, with the Epic Games Store for, say, 3 months before they're allowed to bring it to Steam and other PC platforms. Is this just how we receive future titles now? Like PlayStation or even other consoles buy out a game title temporarily for the launch and then it gets released on other platforms later. You know, why is this happening now? Perhaps it's because of the much less limited nature of these next-gen consoles, which are essentially maybe around a mid-tier computer. So perhaps PC ports and such are more viable now and therefore much less expensive via money or time-wise to port over. So why wouldn't you if that's the case? And to combat that fact, these limited time exclusive releases may be what we can expect a lot more in the future. And if that is the case, I'm all for that. PC players will get shafted much less with releasing it in this type of way, with a few months to wait instead of literal years if the game ever even gets a PC port. Anyway, Athia doesn't have any official date of release or even timeline for release, and obviously it doesn't even have an official title yet, so it's very safe to say that it will not release with the PS5 later this year. But we can be happy to read on with that blog that the trailer was a sneak peek into this world, and they've got a lot more to show us in the near future, and they're very excited to do so. So hopefully that means we're not waiting a very long time before we get some solid information and maybe even a proper lengthy story or even gameplay based trailer to enjoy. The studio formed back in March 2018 from staff that was siphoned from the Final Fantasy 15 team after the launch of the PC version. Now it takes time to create the concept for a entire world, especially a new world, and everything in it, and how the storylines will work, the many concepts, the aspects that come into designing a game well before you sit down and actually make anything. You know, dev time on this one is very unknown because of that. We've no idea how long they've actually been working on this one. So unfortunately, it's pretty impossible to make an educated guess about when new information will arrive, sadly. It's all very interesting to me anyway, and I hope you found it interesting too. What do you think? Could this be Final Fantasy 16? Or like me, do you think this is completely new, something totally different? Whatever the case, I'm excited to learn more about this world and its character. Frankly, it's been about 6 whole seconds since I last heard about a new type of isekai anime, so maybe this information will tide me over. Either way, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and I'm looking forward to talking to you more about Project Athia whenever we get some proper news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.